The shocking truth has been revealed behind Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's big contract extension, with owners Mark and Zygi Wilf speaking on the matter for the future of this franchise, as well as an analysis of Kwesi's tenure to this point in his 3 seasons with the Vikings. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Vikings Digest, but first, if you want to join the 1,300 subscribers that we currently have on our way to 1,400, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can stay up to date on all things Vikings. And with that, let's hop straight into the first topic of the day, which is the truth has been revealed. So as you guys all saw yesterday, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah signed a multi-year contract extension with the Minnesota Vikings to ensure that he will be our GM for at least a few more seasons. And owner Mark Wilf was speaking on the matter, saying that Kwesi's leadership, vision, and collaboration with our coaching staff has positioned with the Minnesota Vikings for a sustained success. His dedication and forward-thinking approach has been instrumental in shaping our roster and future, and we are confident that under the guidance of him and Kevin O'Connell, we will continue to compete at the highest level as we pursue a championship for Vikings fans. But it didn't stop there, as his father, other co-owner Zygi Wilf, was also speaking on it, saying that we are extremely excited to continue this journey with Kwesi in this role and confident in the direction he and Kevin are leading our organization. Kwesi's commitment to building a championship caliber team and his ability to collaborate effectively and make bold, calculated decisions has positioned the Vikings for long-term success. And we're going to get into some of those bold moves that he has made during his tenure in a minute, but having both these owners just come out and speak so highly, it's great to have owners like this in the NFL, especially for this team, because all throughout this offseason, we've heard them speak so highly about Kevin O'Connell. Even during their entire tenure that they have been there, they have said so many nice things about Kevin O'Connell, about the players, about Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, JJ McCarthy, Harrison Smith. The praise has been nonstop because they are eternally grateful for the players that they've and the staff that they've been able to bring into this organization ever since they took over 20 years ago and have just consistently made the Vikings a contender that is always somehow in a Super Bowl bubble. At least we're always considered at minimum a fringe playoff team. The only time that we are just absolutely abysmal is when we have too high of expectations or we go into what is known as a rebuild year. There hasn't been too many of those years, though. It's been, for the most part, a lot of either 7-9 at worst or 6-10 at worst, and then going as good as 12-4 or even 14-3 like last season. But here's to hoping that we can continue to build on that, because with this winning legacy, since the Wilfs have taken over and throughout our entire tenure as a Minnesota Vikings franchise since 1961, we have been in the top 5 as far as overall winning percentage all time, but we're the only one without a Super Bowl. Here's to hoping that we can bring a Super Bowl to the Twin Cities with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah at the helm. And as far as him speaking on his contract extension, now that he finally inked that deal, saying that this organization means so much to me and I've always believed in what we're building here. From the ownership to the incredible staff, there's a true commitment to creating a winning culture with the goal of competing year in and year out. Basically, like I was just saying, with how we have continuously been a competing team, where even in a season like last year, we were considered done before the season even started. A lot of people didn't even think we were going to get 7 wins, let alone make the playoffs. And then we go and we make the number 5 seed. Unfortunately, it was a one and done playoff appearance. That was thanks to a relatively easy schedule, but we still exceeded above expectations. But now the expectation is going to be that much higher heading into this season. Kwesi elaborated on it further, saying that he's thankful for the trust the Wilf family have placed in me, and I'm thrilled to continue leading our football operation alongside Coach O'Connell. Minnesota has welcomed my family with open arms, and we embrace the sacrifices that come with chasing the ultimate prize, knowing what it will mean to be the best fan base and this great state. And now Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, like the Wilfs and Kevin O'Connell and all these players, they are determined to bring a Super Bowl to Minnesota, doing it at no matter what they can do. And until this time, Kwesi wasn't really speaking on his contract or the hopeful possibility of an extension, because he wanted to make sure the focus was on the players, making sure that anything that they wanted to get in place during those free agency windows was done and that it wasn't focused on him. He's a very selfless dude. He's very, 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 very humble and very gracious to the Wilf family for this opportunity that he's in, and he continues to impress throughout his tenure. And then finally touching on the last part of his press conference, saying that while we've made significant strides already, our focus will remain on building a team positioned as a perennial contender. This extension signifies we are on solid ground with the long-term vision we have set, and I'm incredibly excited to work with this group of talented people as we continue to push the boundaries of what this franchise can achieve. And this just piggybacks off of everything that we've been saying for the past little bit, or ever since Kwesi took over, that he's really just tried to have this all be a master plan put in place. And as far as the first part of his master plan with those first 3 years, he's completed it. He did a lot of things that he wanted to do, and now he's focused on the next part of his tenure. And that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which is Kwesi's tenure up until this point. So Adofo-Mensah has helped the Vikings go 34-17 in 3 regular seasons, as he and his department have guided the roster through significant personnel changes. His tenure includes the hiring of Kevin O'Connell, the 2024 Coach of the Year, as well as contract extensions for franchise pillars like Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Christian Darrisaw, and Andrew Van Ginkel. And it doesn't stop there, as Minnesota's regular season win percentage of .667 is during the tenure of Adofo, and O'Connell ranks 6th in the NFL behind the Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Lions, and Ravens. Only 3 other teams have win percentages above 600. The 49ers, Cowboys are at 608, and the Bengals are at 600 since 2022. So much like the history of this franchise, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has been able to continue to build on a winning legacy in Minnesota. Has that winning legacy translated to a Super Bowl? No, but we're getting there bit by bit and making sure that, hey, this is, if there's any tenure where it's going to happen, this is the tenure where it's got to happen. He's made a lot of moves, a lot of free agency moves as well. So even jumping into just the winning part of it, the front office part of it that goes into it. You look at last offseason, bringing in Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, then going out and drafting JJ McCarthy. We had to wait a year to get him fully into the system and ready to go and seeing what Vikings fans are signing up for. However, with that, he's made so many moves. Then you look at this past offseason, which was even bigger for the Vikings, bringing in guys like Jonathan Allen, bringing in guys like Javon Hargrave, re-signing Byron Murphy, bringing in Isaiah Rodgers, re-signing Aaron Jones as well. You had to lose Sam Darnold, and you had to lose Cam Bynum, but you were able to go get Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, lock down so many other guys, and make sure this team is as formidable as they can be heading into next season. And it doesn't stop there with the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's tenure, as when you look at the players that have been named AP first and second team All-Pro under his tenure, you got Andrew DePaola and Justin Jefferson in 2 years, 2022 and 2024. And then you also have Kene Nwanwu, who is no longer on the team. Then you have Andrew DePaola and Andrew Van Ginkel as well. So DePaola was a first and a second team All-Pro in 3 consecutive years. Then you also have Van Ginkel going in there from last season. So obviously this Vikings team, they know how to create great players and scout great players as well. And then when you look at the Vikings that have been named to the Pro Bowl under Kwesi's tenure, you got Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, DePaola, Grenard, Ham, Hawkinson, Danielle Hunter, Justin Jefferson, Byron Murphy, Brian O'Neill, Zadarius Smith, and Andrew Van Ginkel. And a lot of these guys are still on the team. And Andrew Van Ginkel is still there. Brian O'Neill still there. JJ, Hawkinson, CJ Ham, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew DePaola. And unfortunately, those top 3 guys are not still there. But we still have a lot of Pro Bowler caliber players on this roster that are going to try and make an impact. And this isn't even counting the guys that have already made the Pro Bowl before coming over to Minnesota. So now it has a chance for Kwesi to just build even further on this legacy that he's trying to build during his tenure in Minnesota, which has been fantastic. Ever since we've had that change from Rick Spielman over to Kwesi, it has felt so brand new as a Vikings fan. It was a little glim heading into that transition period because that last Mike Zimmer season was very, very disappointing, and it was very indicative of what was going to happen, where we knew we needed a change. The Wilfs went out and made that change and did almost a complete culture change, but for the better. It wasn't a long process to try and change as well. It was something that just flowed naturally from one tenure into another, as far as coaching and GM, into Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, and we have finally found our perfect match at GM and coach. But what do you guys think about all this? What did you guys think about Kwesi's contract extension? How excited are you that we have Kwesi locked down for a few more years as one of the best GMs in the NFL staying in Minnesota? Let us know what you guys have to say about it down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Vikings Digest. I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.